You know what movie used to scare me as a kid, like, all the time? I would be, like, scared of it. I watched it, like, probably 100 times in my lifetime. Snow White. And it freaked me out because, you know, even though I'd seen it 100 times, I always thought that she was going to die. I thought that the witch wasn't going to be pushed off the cliff or whatever it was that happened. Another thing I hate about Snow White is how stupid she is. Like, in the movie, she's sort of like, you know, just a ditz, whatever. She has a pretty face, and, you know, everyone loves her because she's beautiful. It's very superficial, and it's very 1940s, and I mean, that's what was going on when the movie was being made, so, I mean, it makes sense. But even worse, stupidity-wise, is the Grimm's fairy tales version of Snow White, because, like, basically, the hunter sets her free into the woods. She finds the dwarf's house, and the dwarves think she's so beautiful that they say, okay, you can stay. Now we've got to go to work. You don't let anyone in, because your stepmom's probably going to find out pretty soon. So you don't want her to come in, obviously. So, lo and behold, this old peddler woman comes up and says, I have some bodice laces, you know, if you want to let me in, and I'll sell them to you, they're very pretty, whatever. So she comes in, she laces Snow White up, and then she, like, ties it so tight that she can't breathe. Snow White passes out. Dwarfs come home, they untie her, she says what happened, and they're like, look, that was your stepmom, don't let her in again. The next day they go to work, and the peddler woman comes by with combs, and Snow White's like, well, no, I can't let anyone in. She's like, but I've got combs, and Snow White's like, okay. Sticks the poison comb into Snow White's hair, and she falls down, and whatever, she's unconscious and seems to be dead. Dwarves come home, pull out the comb, she's all better. They're like, look, don't let this woman back in. So she comes back, this time she's got a poisoned apple, you know, and Snow White's like, look, I'm not allowed to let anyone in. She's like, but I've got apples. Please, let me give you one of my apples. And she's like, no, I can't take them. And the woman's like, look, are you afraid of poison? I'll cut it in half, and I'll eat this half, which is okay, and you can eat the other half, which is poisoned. She didn't tell her that it was poisoned, but it was. Well, Snow White really liked apples. She barely had the bite in her mouth, and she fell over dead. Queen goes home, and the mirror finally tells her that she's the prettiest. Dwarves come back, and they find that she's dead, and they're very upset. They put her in the glass coffin, whatever. And one day a prince comes by, and he stayed the night at the dwarf's house. And he saw the coffin on the mountain with Snow White in it, and he falls in love with her, basically, because she's so beautiful. Anyway, so then he takes it away, and, you know, whatever, the coffin tumbles, and it dislodged the apple from Snow White's throat, and then she opened her eyes and she was back alive again. And the prince was obviously very excited. They go to the castle, they live happily ever after, and they put her stepmom into a pair of iron shoes that had been heated in coals, and she was forced to, you know, step in them and dance until she died. She had to dance until she died in burning hot shoes. So that's it. Alright.